Hi everyone, happy Wisdom Wednesday, happy spring. I am coming on here today to talk about my journey with a few things. So my journey with my physical health, my spiritual health, and my emotional health, and specifically with learning more about what the body is capable of, learning more about the journey that the body can go through to heal. And I've talked a lot in a lot of my videos about my incredible experience with Jeanette Wayne and with the power of healing naturally using herbal remedies. And I know there's also a lot of science out there, or I actually don't know if I think it's science backed by big corporations, and this is where there's a big lesson is to whenever you read a study saying something like, oh, soy milk is bad for you, or homeopathic medicine doesn't work, do your research and look at where those articles, who those articles are written by, and that company who is publicizing that article, who they are funded by. Because often they're funded by big pharma, some sort of big pharmaceutical company, some sort of backing. So really look into like who you are being educated by and what their agenda is, because everyone has an agenda. All these companies want to sell for sure, but who are the good ones that are actually trying to help you and not trying to misinform you? So I wanted to post this video this week because I was in a session last weekend with my friend and healer Jeanette Wayne, and I've been seeing Jeanette now since 2011, so we're looking at 8 years now, and she's a true cherished friend and healer of mine. And we were in session, and I had a really powerful session. I walked out and I thought, God, I need to share this experience with everybody because it's so powerful. In the last, I guess we're looking at like 8 months now since my mother passed, I've been going through this massive transformation of who I am, and I've been telling some friends that I don't even recognize who I am anymore. First of all, I live in a small town. I guess it's a small city of a little over 100,000 people. I never thought I would do that in a million years. I lived in Toronto. I was a big city girl for 10 years, loved it, and then something clicked one day and I said no more. I can't do this. I am not, and it was right before we moved out of Toronto. I didn't even want to move out of Toronto as of like August, September of last year. I was like, no, putting my foot down. And then, things started to change. My partner got work here, and the next thing I know, here I am sitting on my couch in Guelph, Ontario, and loving my life. And it's quieter. And what I've been telling some people, and I've even been having really powerful dreams about this, about the silence that I've been needing. I feel like last year I was telling someone the other day, was very emotionally loud, if that makes any sense. And it was very, very abrupt. It was a very abrupt year, very charged year, very tragic, very just like loud on the nervous system, loud on the emotional level, physical level. Everything was very weighted and heavy. And I think what it did in me is it kind of was like a catalyst to be like, hey, move, 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 change, change, change. You got to take a look at this new version of yourself, and you've got to get out from where you are to somewhere new so that you can heal. And I think the power of moving when right after you've gone through something very difficult and very traumatic is that it forces you to, I don't want to say force, but it gives you this new perspective on life, this beautiful new perspective on life that I now have, and on myself and who I am and my new priorities for myself. And I'm now teaching at a new yoga studio in town, and I'm doing things I just never thought I was going to do. And therefore, new things I never thought I would do, feeling like a brand new person. On top of which, I've been having some really powerful dreams lately. I won't go into them in detail, but a lot of the dreams have been, especially in Pisces season. If anyone knows about Pisces, it's a very kind of magical, ethereal, dreamy kind of season. Pisces is all about dreamland, and so a lot of astrologers say, pay attention to your dreams and, around end of January, and then throughout February when Pisces hits. And so, of course, I did, and of course, my mom was a Pisces, and so a lot of my dreams were with her. Plus, we're in Mercury retrograde in Pisces, so guess what? I'm forced to look backwards on my relationship with my mother. So, very, very powerful, and one of the dreams, a couple of the dreams were about my ancestors and about my role as a healer on this earth, my role as healing myself, and one of the dreams involved fungus growing up the side of my body. Now, one thing I'm going to share right now, maybe those who are really, really close to me know, I've been dealing with this very odd infection in my body. I went to the hospital to check out what was happening because it was very odd, and nothing showed up on the scans. However, I still have aching pain in almost every single one of my organs. It's not to the point, I don't even want to call it pain. It's almost like a deep ache discomfort. It's enough to notice. It started in my ovaries, fallopian tube, and then it moved up to my liver, in my kidneys, my spleen, maybe even my appendix a little bit, and I think it might be in my gallbladder as well. Sounds kind of scary. I'm not scared. I am actually dealing with this, screen froze, in a really calm way, and I'm actually kind of excited because in my session with Jeanette, I talked about the dream, we talked about the infection, and I've come to this intuitive conclusion now that I am healing some pretty deep ancestral stuff on my mother's side. So one thing to remember is that when we talk about ancestral healing, it can be physical, it can be emotional, it can be very subtle, or it can be very loud. This happens to be one of my more loud versions of ancestral healing I've had. I've had other reflections on things and ways that I want to do things differently than the way maybe my parents did them or my grandparents did them, and living in a different time than my ancestors lived, and so therefore I'm already, just by living in a new time and a new era, changing the way they did things and taking care of my body. But this is like really deep. This is going into flushing all my organs out with a parasite cleanse, with black walnut, wormwood tincture, garlic capsules, bromelain capsules. Yes, that. Every day, 3 times a day it'll be until the end of May. So I've never done one this long. It's going to be at about a 3-month parasite cleanse. I'm doing a bacterial cleanse with vitamin C and golden seal and vitamin C 3 times a day. And I'm doing a kidney cleanse with parsley water. I sip a cup throughout the day of parsley water, and I make it by boiling 3 bundles of parsley chopped up in water for an hour. I boil it for an hour, and then I put it into mason jars, and I put it in the fridge. And then I have one batch of that lasts me about a week to 1 pot full. And then I remake it every week, and it's become this really beautiful ritual, and I'm noticing things that are flushing out of my body. I'm feeling clearer. My skin looks clearer. I have more color in my cheeks. Often if you notice someone who's puffy and pale white, that's often, especially in women, that's a kidney imbalance. And so I'm noticing that I'm losing some of that. My whites in my eyes, I was told by someone the other day, are looking like the whitest and clearest they've ever looked. It's really, really cool to see what my body is doing. The beauty of cleanses, and I know some people have some issues with cleanses, they feel like they are eliminating things. The beauty with these cleanses is they're not about elimination. They're about adding. And I do actually think that some elimination diets for a short-term period are really good for us. I've actually done them. I've done rice fasts. I've done broth fasts for short periods of time, and I've actually felt great after I do them. And side note, rice actually has a tremendous amount of protein. So if you're eating a small bowl of rice every hour for like 5 or 6 hours, maybe 8 hours in a day, you're getting quite a bit of protein. So just to like debunk that idea that like some cleanses are like about starving yourself, or no, that's not. If you're done properly with a medical practitioner of some kind supporting you, they can be very, very beneficial. The Parsley Water and all of these parasite tinctures and everything I can take with my diet, my regular diet that I eat every day. I'm not taking anything out. We actually can accumulate parasites in our body every year, so these are really good things to do once a year. So the Parsley Water and all of that is really good. I think why this didn't show up on the scan at the hospital was because I was really close to clearing it out. I think it's a very kind of low-scale infection. It's not causing me like debilitating pain, but it's definitely causing me to notice. It also could be a parasite, and they didn't check for parasites at the hospital. They checked for bacteria. So again, I'm not too worried about it. I just know my body's talking to me, and I know that it's clearing things, and so I'm going with it. But basically, my point is to talk about this power of ancestral healing and what that can do for our emotions and our body, and how important it is to recognize that there is a pattern that is in our cells that is left over from our mother and from our grandmother and our great-grandmother and so on. And I am now clearing that to become basically a newer version of myself. How exciting is that? I just think it's so cool, and I really wanted to share it. And I encourage you all to take the time to reflect maybe on some of the things that you think you could heal emotionally or physically from your cells and your body, from your parents and your mom. It's kind of the exciting side of death. And I know that sounds kind of strange, but when someone dies, it really does force you to look at yourself and look at what was kind of left behind and what they are trying to teach you about who you are becoming. And if my mom hadn't passed away, I wouldn't have been looking at these sides of myself. I wouldn't have been interested in doing any of this, and I maybe wouldn't have even cleared it. Who knows what, toxic stuff was left over with my grandmother and my great-grandmother that they just didn't get a chance to heal, that I'm like now a vessel for. I think that's really exciting. So if you're really interested in doing things like a parasite cleanse that I was talking about, or a kidney cleanse, the kidney cleanse is just so easy. It's literally parsley water that you drink. I mean, the shortest amount of time to do it is 6 weeks, but if you have something more intense, Jeanette might get you to do it for 2 or 3 months. It's hard. It's hard in the sense that it's hard to get into, but once you get into, it's not so bad. You just have to make a ritual and a routine of it. Easier time to do it in the year is the winter, for sure. And into the spring. The spring is all about cleansing and renewal, so I feel really blessed that it kind of landed now. I had to do it now, or else I probably would have gotten sicker and been in more discomfort. So I'm just glad I'm doing this now, and I'm not 50 or 60 or 70 or 80 in a hospital bed having to try to fix my body. And who knows what will happen in the future, but I just think while we're young, for those of you out there that I know who are in their 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, you're young, and now's the time to look within and see what it is that you can heal. Talk to your parents about some of the things that they maybe struggle with. Maybe you don't even need to talk to them because it might be an uncomfortable conversation, but maybe just observe some of the things that maybe your parents are struggling with that they can't really get over. It's like a hump they can't get over. And look in within yourself and see if that exists for you, and see what are the ways that I could actually clear this out of my field. I don't need this. This isn't serving me anymore. And find someone to help you clear that, whether it's physically, whether it's a rite of passage ceremony to release. I know my friend Liz Diaz does that. She hosts rite of passage ceremonies where she helps people to let go of something in their past. And maybe it's a relationship, maybe it's something toxic that doesn't serve them, maybe it's someone who passed away and they're grieving. So there's lots of ways to help you to release what no longer serves you. So that's kind of what I want to talk about. I might write a blog about it. I've thought about it, but for the meantime, I just wanted to hop on here and talk to you a little bit about what it means to heal ancestral lineages, and that it can look like a lot of different things. It can be, writing and journaling something. It can be a physical release, and just how powerful that truly is. So I hope you have a beautiful day. Happy Wisdom Wednesday. Go outside, enjoy the sun, and we'll talk to you soon.